Let's learn about the cerebellum. The cerebellum, which is present behind the midbrain, pons and medulla. It is covered outside with the gray matter and inside with the white matter. In the cerebellum, we will see the layers of cerebellum and their network present in the cerebellum. In the layers of cerebellum, we have three layers from outside to inside. The outermost is the molecular layer, and the middle is the Purkinje layer, and the innermost is granular layer. Let's see each of this. The outermost molecular layer, we have two types of cells, that is stellate cell and basket cell, which is present in the molecular layer. This can be remembered that as the upper part. In our upper part we have the sky, and the sky we have the basket full of stars which is present on the sky. Likewise, the cerebellum, which have the uppermost part, that is a molecular layer, and it has the basket full of stars, that is the star is a stellate shape. So basket cells and stellate cells which are present on the molecular layer. And moving on to the middle layer, which is named as Purkinje layer because the Purkinje cells rest in this. And the innermost is the granular layer, and it is named because we having the granular cell and Golgi cell which are rested in the inner layer of cerebellum. These are the layers of cerebellum and their cells present. Let's see once again. The molecular layer, outer layer, which have the stellate full of stellate cells and basket cells, which stands for stellate basket full of stars, and middle layer stands, we have the Purkinje layer and we have the Purkinje cells in it. The inner layer is the granular layer. We are having the granule cells and Golgi cells. Let's see about the network which is present in the cerebellum. We have the two afferent and only one efferent in the cerebellum. That is afferent, two afferent pathways, two afferent networks with the help of climbing fibers and other due to mossy fibers. These are the two afferent fibers, and we are having only one efferent, only one output, that is from the Purkinje cell. Even that Purkinje is an inhibitory. From the cerebellum, we have the only one efferent pathway from the Purkinje cell, and that is two inhibitory pathway. Let's see each this. The climbing fiber, which is one of the afferent fiber, it carries impulses from the contralateral. Remember that is a contralateral side of the inferior olivary nucleus. That is, if the climbing fiber from right side carries impulse from the left side of inferior olivary nucleus, and it relays in the Purkinje cell and deep cerebellar nucleus with the neurotransmitter that is released as aspartate. Aspartate is an excitatory which is released from the climbing fibers and relays in the Purkinje cell and the deep nuclei. This is one afferent. And the second afferent is the mossy fibers. The mossy fibers, which carries the sensations from the all sensory receptors present in the body, and they relay in the deeper cerebellar layers, that is granular layer and Golgi cell, with the help of neurotransmitter glutamate. Glutamate is an excitatory neurotransmitter. So the mossy fibers, which rely on the granule cells and the Golgi cells, release the neurotransmitter glutamate. These are the two afferent pathways to cerebellum. Once the granule cell is excited and it sends impulse to the Golgi cell, its same layered cell, that is Golgi cell, and it also sends a large T-shaped fiber to the upper part of the layers, that is middle layer and the molecular layer. So this fiber is called the parallel fiber. The granule cell, which got excited with the help of mossy fiber, transmits its neurotransmitter, that is glutamate, with the help of a long T-shaped fiber that is called the parallel fiber, and it excites the stellate cells, basket cells and the Purkinje cells. These are the, remember that granule cell is the only excitatory and it releases only glutamate. So granule cell, which release glutamate, it relays on both all other cells, that is Golgi cells, Purkinje cells, stellate cells and basket cells. Once the Purkinje cell is activated with the help of granule cell. It sends the inhibitory neurotransmitter, inhibitory output. The inhibitory output or inhibitory neurotransmitter importantly is the GABA. The GABA, which is an inhibitory neurotransmitter, is sent to the deep cerebellar nuclei. The inhibitory impulses also comes from the stellate cells and the basket cells, which rely on the Purkinje cell. The Purkinje cell is the main output of cerebellar layers, gives the GABA neurotransmitter to the deep nuclei. And there is an other inhibitory network between the Golgi and granules. The granule cells excite the Golgi cells, but the Golgi cells inhibit the granule cells, like a feedback mechanism. These are the networks present in the cerebellar layers. Let's see a quick recap. We have two afferent fibers, that is climbing fiber and mossy fibers. The climbing fiber arises from the inferior olivary nucleus contralateral side, and it relays on the Purkinje cell and deep nuclei with the neurotransmitter aspartate. And we have the mossy fiber, which arises from the sensory receptors and carries a sensory impulse to granule cells and Golgi cells and release the neurotransmitter glutamate. Once a granule cell is excited, it gives impulse to both all other cerebellar cells, that is Golgi cell, Purkinje cell, stellate cell and basket cell. They are excited with the glutamate neurotransmitter through parallel fibers, long parallel fibers. Once the stellate cell and the basket cell is excited, they inhibit the Purkinje cell. The Purkinje cell is the main output from the cerebellum, and it releases GABA as an inhibitory neurotransmitter, and it inhibits the deep cerebellar nuclei.